Guys, something weird happened this week. You ready? Something crazy. Couldn't even believe it. Weirdest thing that's ever happened. Carlos Alcaraz won a tennis tournament.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know. On a surface that's not hard.
And,
Crazy,
you know,
right?
he 4 grass court titles now for his career. That's as many as Nadal. You guys are old enough to remember when there was a Netflix documentary and one of the themes was how uneven Carlos Alcaraz was, slumping a little bit. Where was his focus? Been pretty good the last 6 weeks or so, hasn't he?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear anyone whining about Ibiza this year.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite one, my favorite Carlos Alcaraz, because like you can kind of see that he's when he wins, he kind of feels like he can like say more stuff and get away with more stuff. He's not as like, you know, he doesn't have to be like Roger or Rafa. Like he can actually get away with saying something. I love it. So he went to Ibiza for like 3 days. He goes, yeah, but I only took it super deep one night. I was like, it's so good. I only got really messed up one night. This is discipline. This is a new Carlos. This isn't the same Carlos as last year. But like, okay, let's just go through it. Like, it's almost to the point where I want to guard against this is when someone is so outstanding and I haven't gotten over the Roland Garros respect hangover of that match, and I don't know that I ever will in this lifetime, but it still looms very large for me, the Alcaraz Sinner final. You go to Ibiza, which, by the way, if I could go back in time, apparently, if I wanted to win Wimbledon, I would just go rip it for 2 days there, and then all my problems would have been solved. Well, that and being an otherworldly talent. But comes back, shows up at Queen's, has one kind of dicey match against Munar where you felt like he was kind of looking for energy. And then once he hits that stride and that flow state, even against Lehechka, by the way, played a phenomenal match in the final. It was one of those ones where it was like operation successful, but the patient dies. Like it was phenomenal. It's everything he had to do to try to disrupt Carlos, but the guy's just in full flight. And I think the most impressive thing about it, and even Rafa had to work at it and be a little bit more intentional about this than Carlos does going from clay to grass. Save the comments. I'm not saying he's better than Rafa. I'm not saying all these things. I'm just saying the game and his ability to, on clay, you have to take different angles to the ball, right? You normally have to backtrack, then go in. The lines that he takes to the ball are never wrong. Like if he wants to cut one off, it's like Roger-esque, right? Roger on his forehand never took a bad angle or a bad line to the ball in stride. He's able to read the pacing, adjust his footwork, and then either transition off the forehand in or not. And he reads all of that in half a second, right? And he is so good about his angles to the ball. You never really see that awkward grass court out of position that you see with the rest of us chuckers, right? Like even Sinner, you feel like is finding that, like when to take the line, when to take it on, when to go back. And that's a normal process for anyone. I'm so impressed with like, I go on vacation, I come back, and then by the second match, I'm already taking the correct line and choosing the right shot on grass every time.
Wait, now that you've opened the door, let's keep going there. Because I think that's a really good point. I think we sort of gloss over sometimes, they change shoes. And when you make that transition from red to green, from clay to grass, the ball bounces differently. Say more about what this transition entails and what does it entail? I mean, strategically, it's obviously the points are going to play different. I suspect when you're thinking about where to serve, it's a different decision. Keep going. Say more about what it entails when we talk about this summer transition.
Yeah. So this is coming from a place where my knowledge base is like, I felt relief when I got to grass because it made more sense. Like I didn't have to think about, shot profiles as much. I didn't think about how to like overcome my power getting mitigated. Everything kind of came back to me, right? The chip worked a little bit. I didn't have to, I could hide my back end easier. But obviously you look at the winners this week, Bublik, Vondrousek, Kessler, every ball, the ball flight is instantly represented. Medvedev is automatically better because he has that flat ball flight through the back of the court, right? I think the biggest thing that no one talks about is the best players in the world on grass are able to identify the ball to get forward on, and they know that they're going in before they hit that shot. But it could be mid-rally, right? Like Carlos can settle in, hit a chip back in, he has that little crouching thing that Ferrer used to do on the grass. He just hits it bigger and better. But the ability to kind of turn a point at a moment's notice, whereas Clay, it's more of like a 2 or 3, 4 shot process into a grind. Like you can turn defense into offense. And if you think about like Roger will hit a chip back in, you don't hit one perfectly. It's almost like a half miss where against most of the field, you can get away with it, but then he's on you with that forehand. And if he hits it well, you know that he's going to be 4 feet from the net. Right. And so it's that quick pressure set. It's not the slow build of like earning the point with Clay. You can steal points on grass. It's more of like a theft mentality. Now they're sliding into balls more on grass, which is something that we didn't do, but putting the premium when you're on defense on the strike and not height, right? And on the slower surfaces, when you're kind of beat, you'll try to find some air and get it out of a pocket. That doesn't work as well on grass because the pocket doesn't really exist and it's more of a thud type bounce. Venus and Serena were great at this. They would hit their way out of trouble on D and almost give up time on the next ball and put the priority on pace of shot, right? So like you're kind of beat to the forehand corner, but you can get a good swing on it. They would hit the ball like through deep, wherever it was, and sacrifice. If someone picked it off perfectly, then they were cooked. But more often than not, they were going to find themselves and beat the person with pace and sacrifice that time back. You would never do that on a slower court, right? You would try to find the height and give yourself time to kind of restart. And then you get to serving. Spins matter more. You saw Carlos, going with the slice serve more and more, abandoning the kick serve because it doesn't get up and away. So basically the way you set your table on your serve completely changes. You run them more in on the body where you try to get someone to kind of get that T-Rex return, and then you're up on the second ball a little bit more. So it's just a quicker mentality where you can steal points in a quicker fashion if you're aware, rather than height, spin, extending the court like you can on a clay court. Mike?
How much is it that, younger players are getting access to these surface types that are closer to what they're actually playing on in all these different areas, globally than they were, say, when you were coming up? Definitely more so than the previous generations, but
yeah.
How much is it just they actually get to get on these surfaces more often based on facilities?
Well, I don't know is the answer to that, because I don't know, who has what grass court in Europe, wherever. I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that it's now about angles, awareness, whereas it used to almost be, okay, I'm going Borg, where I haven't come in 6 weeks going into the French Open, and now I'm serving and volleying on every ball because you had to, right? Because the surface was lower, it was quicker, the grass wasn't quite as good. The technologies and how to keep grasses and use different grasses, and you get a truer bounce. So it's not as if you have to go and you're going full Lendl, where at the end of his career, he wanted to win Wimbledon so badly that he would skip the French some years to work on serving and volleying. You do not have to serve and volley to win Wimbledon, right? And that probably changed post Pete Sampras, with the exception of our guy Agassi, right? Maybe a little bit of Borg sprinkled in, but Borg would still serve and volley 80% of the time on grass. Like, he switched it completely. So I think the transition is earlier just because it's not like you're going from one very specific skill set and having to completely renovate your home to another very specific skill set in 3 days, right? I think it's different, but Carlos is still not serving and volleying. He mixes it in, and he's brilliant when he does it. And I think he's a better volleyer on grass than any other surface because he can hit those kind of dump volleys a la Borg. That's probably the comp that I look to most with him. But I don't know I don't know about access. I can't speak to that, but I just think you can stay back a little bit more on grass. So it's adjustments and not a wholesale change when people hit the ground running, as opposed to 20 or 25 years ago. We'll dive a little deeper with the Chuckster in a little bit. Is this RIP to the Hamburglar outfit? Because there's no way he can wear that at Wimbledon. Is he done? I mean, he had a pretty good run with it.
It's I thought he was Foot Locker attendant. Yeah, we forget that's not going to pass. As
Sinner's Luigi outfits retired also.
That's it. I wonder if Nike just goes full passive aggressive and throws a grimace just all purple out there for the Open or something. Let's stick with the theme. Let's get a partnership. I know Carlos is really struggling for endorsement opportunities these days.